Hello, good morning. This is a slightly impromptu Facebook Live, as you might be able to tell from my appearance. First, let me introduce myself in case you're new around here. My name is Colette Broomhead, and I'm an online startup strategist, which means that I work with new business owners, new online business owners, and help people get from literally point zero, sometimes no idea what business they even want, to getting to the point where they are replacing their 9 to 5 income and able to quit their 9 to 5. And the reason I'm popping in today is because I wanted to chat about keeping to your word. And the reason I'm doing it looking like this is because I've literally just got back from a run, and the two are connected. So let me explain. This Facebook Live has actually been inspired by a Facebook Live I watched yesterday from an entrepreneur, from a guy who I follow, who's absolutely fab. He's called James Wedmore, and I watched a Facebook Live of his yesterday where he was talking about self-integrity, and he was explaining that what he meant by that was basically when you say you're going to do something, sticking to your word and doing it. And it got me thinking about the number of times I find myself talking myself out of sticking to my word. And actually, if you can get out of that habit, if you can kind of quell those voices and get into the habit of actually doing the things that you say you're going to do, how powerful that is and what an impact that can have on your life and your business. We all have that inner voice that wants to kind of help us stay safe, wants to help us, not have to do the tough stuff. People call it ego or whatever you want to call it. It's that internal voice that wants to keep us safe. It's that natural kind of instinct almost that we all have to avoid anything that feels uncomfortable, scary, even just a bit of a pain. And in order to kind of protect ourselves from that, we have this voice that makes a ton of excuses for us as to why we don't really need to do it. So in my case, hence the running link, I recently decided it was time I got fit. I am completely unfit and have been for many, many years, having not really done any kind of regular exercise since I left school. And on numerous occasions, I have made attempts to get fit. I've joined gyms, I have bought exercise DVDs, I've tried running before, and every single time I do it for a few times and then perhaps I miss one, and then that little voice kicks in and you're just not really an exercise kind of person, or it's really the wrong time of year for this, or you're just too busy at the moment, and all of those little excuses, all of those little justifications to let myself off the hook so that I don't have to do that thing that I don't really enjoy and that I find a bit of a challenge. So a few weeks ago, I started doing the Couch to 5K, and I was determined, as I always am, to be fair, to stick to it and to actually see it through. Hey, to anyone watching live, nice to see you. Do say hello. So I was determined to stick to it, and sure enough, a few weeks in, despite the fact that I could start to see some results, I could start to see it getting easier, I was able to run longer without dying. I found that little voice, oh, it's a bit cold today, or I'm a bit busy today. I don't really feel like it today. It'll be much better if I go tomorrow. And I got today and realised that I hadn't been for a run for over a week, and I'm meant to be doing 3 a week. And I thought, right, no, this is it. This is all about. This is saying you're going to do something and then sticking to it and not listening to those voices. So I forced myself to go out for a run. And as I returned, I then thought, oh, another thing that I said I was going to do today is a Facebook Live. And immediately those little voices started saying, well, you can't really do a Facebook Live now because you need to go and have a shower. You look at you look all sweaty and red-faced and you haven't got any makeup on, and your hair's all icky and sweaty and needs a wash. You can't possibly go and do a Facebook Live like that. And I thought, what will happen is I'll have a shower and then I'll want some lunch, and then something else will come up, and I'll keep making those little excuses. So I'm just doing it. I'm just coming on live and I'm doing it. And the point of this is that there is so much stuff. If you really start to pay attention to that voice, you realize that you are constantly, several times a day probably, talking yourself out of doing things which are probably going to really benefit you and your life, because they feel uncomfortable. They're a little bit awkward, they're a little bit scary. Whatever reason, that little voice tells us you don't need to worry about that, Colette. You don't need to worry. You just stay safe. You just stick to what you know. And if you can get into the habit of drowning out that voice, then think about the things that you could actually achieve. If you can stick to your word, then think about how powerful your word becomes. Whereas if you don't stick to your word is meaningless in everything. If it's not well, sometimes I'm going to stick to my word, sometimes I'm not. If you don't stick to your word, it becomes meaningless. And that's actually, when you think about it like that, that's a big thing. Hey Ron, nice to see you. Just saw your comment. So yeah, try and get into the habit. And I want to challenge you to something, and this is something that I'm going to start doing myself, and that is every single day I want you to think of 3 things that you are going to commit to doing. The first thing is something for your business. If you have a business and you're watching this, and I imagine most of you do if you're on this page. So something for your business. It could be something little. It doesn't have to be big. It could be, today I'm going to finish that blog post I've been putting off. Or today I'm going to do a Facebook Live. Something that you've been putting off, that you've been kind of making excuses not to do. This really resonates with me right now. Oh, good. I'm glad. When I kind of watched another Facebook Live about it yesterday, it really kind of struck with me, and I realised how often I do this in my own life. I'm constantly, making excuses for myself to not do stuff. And if I just got on with it, you can achieve so much if you just don't listen to that voice. So this challenge I have. Every day, I want you to commit to 3 things. One thing that you're going to do for your business. One thing that you're going to do in your personal life. So for me, today, it was, I'm going to go for that run. I'm going to stick to my word, and I'm going to go for my run. And then one thing that you're going to commit to do for you. So it could be, again, for me today, it was, I booked myself a hair appointment because my hair is in desperate need of a cut, and I keep putting it off and putting it off. And I'm too busy, I haven't got time, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, no, it's nonsense. I can make time for a hair appointment. So I have booked a hair appointment. So I'm going to try and do this for myself every single day. I'm going to get into the habit of perhaps of an evening, just jotting down those 3 things and committing. And if you do nothing else in the day, you make sure that those 3 things get done. Now, what you've got to avoid doing is committing to things which you already know you're going to do, things which are easy and which aren't, something that voice is telling you not to do in the first place, because those are things you would be doing anyway. What you're looking for here are the things that you've been putting off, the things that little voice is trying to make excuses for you not to do. You'll know them. You'll know them when you get to them. I'm sure you've already got some in your mind. In fact, if you're watching this now, or you're watching in the replay, and you've got something that you can think of that, yeah, that's what I've been putting off, I'm going to do this. Let me know in the comments. What one thing are you going to commit to today or tomorrow, let's say, for your business? What one thing are you going to commit to do for your personal life? And what one thing are you going to commit to do just for you? I'd love to know. Let me know. Pop it in the comments if you've got anything in mind already. And that's it. That's what I wanted to just come and chat about, because I think it's something that I'm going to be trying to do ongoing. Like I say, I know the more I think about it, the more I recognise myself doing it all the time for so many things: eating healthily, exercising, stuff in my business, taking the next step, because I feel a bit scared, creating, selling more, so much stuff all the time. And I'm sure the same is true for you, because I think it is absolutely just human instinct. It's that kind of protective instinct that we have to sort of shelter ourselves from anything that's, out of the ordinary, or that could be scary. So let me know, if anything, what are you going to commit to? What 3 things? Do pop it in the comments. I'd love to see. And with that, I am going to go and have a shower and wash my hair. Have a great day. I shall speak to you soon. Take care.